Thank you very much for coming in. I'll let you do a little bit of an intro to yourself and then we will go from there.
Fab. So I'm Hannah Ayres. I run Number 7 Coffee House. I grew up in Bedford. Lived down in London for quite a while. So it's good to be back in Bedford now. I'm running the coffee shop. But yeah, it's different to what I used to do before. I was working in human resources.
Oh.
So very different. I don't know how I ended up in human resources. I went to university and studied politics. Didn't know what I wanted to do.
It's really bizarre how many people started doing one thing at uni and then do something completely different.
I think you're too young to really know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And when I did my A levels, just choose something what you're good at. I did do a politics A level. I got the best results in it that I got from some poor grades. And so that's why I went on to do at university.
What do you study doing politics at university? I've never really...
Oh gosh,
so far away from a world that I understand.
I did American politics, which is topical at the moment. Like the history of UK politics. I'm sure there was loads of other stuff that I can't remember. I did a dissertation actually about being in the UK being in the EU. That was before we left the EU. So
that didn't age well, that one, did it?
Yeah, it didn't age very well. Didn't do very well in that either. But it was interesting. I did find it interesting. I still find it quite interesting. But I don't have no passion for politics at all.
Is it? I wish I knew a little bit more about politics. Does it? Does what you learn there help carry over and understand that's going on things now? Because sometimes in politics, I don't really understand that.
I guess I did learn. I had a breadth of experience, and that's why I think my tutors pushed me down that route. It was do something that is very broad. It doesn't mean you have to be a politician. It means you'll learn how to debate things. You'll learn to write. And you'll learn about what's going on in the world and the history of it. I guess it just gave me that breadth, I guess, of understanding. But I wouldn't say I even understand the political system very well. And I've got a 2-1 in politics at university. I'm kind of ashamed to say I don't understand it enough. But I don't really think you need to understand it. It's changing so much all the time. The
US is like you say, very, very topical but interesting place at the moment, and I can't even get my head around the simplest of things there, and then that's a whole different podcast. So how did you go from politics to HR?
So how did I? Well, I didn't. Again, I was at university. Didn't know what I wanted to do. My mum's friend worked in HR, and one day she said, "Look, you need to really have a think about where you're going to end up. Why don't you come to?" She worked at John Lewis. Come to John Lewis, do some work experience, see all the different departments in HR. There were so many I didn't even know about. So I did that and I was like, yeah, that sounds good. It was an interesting 2 weeks, quite a cool company. And then I just came out of university and started applying for jobs in that industry. There were a lot of entry-level jobs, so I felt like a right kind of career path to go down. And that's where I was for over 6 years. Worked my way up, went into consulting. And then I moved around quite a lot. And when I got into consulting, I was like, actually, I don't know if I really like this. Didn't know if I enjoyed it at all, or if I was just moving around for different progressions. I did do very well. Feedback was always very good, but it's I don't think I actually like my job at all. Ended up going away, leaving my job. They gave me some time off. I went away for 7 weeks, which comes back to kind of number 7 now, ties in. Went to South Africa and realised that I actually really did hate my job. Once I had 7 weeks out of it, I was like, I feel so refreshed, cannot go back to it. And that's when I started exploring coffee shop routes. Being away for that long, I spent a lot of time in coffee shops, drinking coffee. And I thought maybe this is something I could do and bring back to the UK. So
what I'm now intrigued. What did you do with the HR when it's consult? What does that mean?
So for about 5 years, I did generalist HR, so working in a variety of companies doing HR admin up to business partner level. And then for consulting, I worked for one of the big 4 consultancy firms. Big companies would pick us to go in and help fix their HR technology, mainly at the time. Right. So we were looking at the problems in their HR department, how we would make them streamlined, make them better, make them more efficient. And then normally it would be to then implement a big HR system. So I would do all the processes, looking at where you could replace people with the technology, we would do that, and then I'd be part of like the technology implementation team. So I actually I enjoyed like what the work was, but I just kind of lost my way with some of the companies I think I was working for, and thought maybe the corporate world just isn't for me. And as a child, I would say to my mum, what did I say what I wanted to do as a child? She's like, you wanted to be a PE teacher and you never wanted to sit behind a desk, and then you took a job in HR where you sat behind a desk. And my parents were always like, we knew that's not what you ever really could see yourself doing. Like, I just cannot sit down for like, well, when I was in my final job, it was like 12 hours a day, sat on big projects. And yeah, they were like, why are you doing that? You never said you wanted to. So still, I'm like, maybe I should have been a PE teacher, because that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I think there's so much in life that, like, I was exactly the same. I said, whatever job I do, I can't be sat behind a desk.
Yeah.
But I think that the whole process of like school and going into a job, it's just impossible. But I think that you should go to uni and stuff when you're like 30.
Yeah.
Like when you've had some sort of world experience of what you want to do and what you enjoy doing and what you don't enjoy doing. Because I didn't want to be a PE teacher, but it was just the only thing that I had any experience on that I enjoyed. Like, I enjoyed being in PE.
Yeah, same.
So I thought, I'll be a PE teacher.
And my PE teachers were lovely, and I was like, I want to be that.
And I had no other experience on anything else, any other job. So I ended up just kind of wanting to, like, I think there's a lot of people, if you enjoy PE, you want to be a PE teacher.
Yeah. But
yeah, I didn't want to be sat behind a desk, and then exactly the same as you, found myself sat behind a desk all day.
Yeah. That's why I'm a bit, I'm a big believer on, when I worked in HR, it's something that was, the government were really pushing, was apprenticeships. Actually, as much as I had the best time at university, probably more for the social side than actually coming out with a politics degree, I do think apprenticeships are something that young people should consider more, because you can work alongside the study and actually it's normally paid for. You don't come out with a massive debt. And I do think there's a lot to learn from doing an apprenticeship at any time in life. It doesn't have to be straight away when you finish school. But I don't know, I feel like apprenticeships have fallen off the agenda.
Yeah, you don't really think about,
no
one really talks about apprenticeships anymore. It used to be like
it's a massive push before.
Yeah, and it was very trade based, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot that you can learn in any space. I think that sort of taking that level of, you used to get the experience of kind of doing the job and working out whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Because that's a big part of it. Everyone thinks the job would be great, and then you start doing it and you think, well, actually, I don't like this at all.
Yeah.
So you kind of get that kind of boot camp of doing bits, especially like an apprenticeship. You're often like dotted around in different aspects of different works, aren't you?
Yeah, and you study a couple of days a week, work a few days a week.
Yeah.
You have assigned mentors, and often in big companies, it's a really well-structured program, whereas you kind of go to university and do something you don't even know if you enjoy, and then you come out and you don't know where to go. And a lot of people get pigeonholed into then graduate schemes, and I mean, it works for some people, but it isn't the right route. A lot of people feel very trapped, I think, in those.
If they know if it's definitely what you want to do, then it makes sense. But if you're not sure, you end up just. I bet there's a lot of people that just get stuck in jobs that they have no drive or passion for, just because that's what that.
And that's what I think I was in HR. I was like, I ended up doing a HR master's alongside working when I was living in London. And I was like, just in this like rat race of like, go to work, I'm in HR, I've studied in it now, I've done it for 6 years, I can't ever change. It just felt like that was where I was going to end up. And I had aspirations to get to a senior level, but I was like, I really don't enjoy this. And then you start seeing things on Instagram that's like, about how long you're going to be working for, and the retirement age going off. I was like, oh no, I cannot do this for the rest of my life.
Were you living in London in the HR role?
Yeah, so I started off living back with my parents after university, and then moved down to London, down in Brixton.
How was that?
Oh, I absolutely loved it. Like some great years, and some the social scene in London is brilliant. But when I left, I was very, very ready to leave and get a dog. was one of the main drivers.
I love London. I think it's an amazing place to go, but for like 2 days.
Yeah.
After that, I'm like, yeah, I'm done.
It's fast paced. I think when I could like go to work all day and then go out drinking and get up and do it again, it was great. But yeah, I struggle to even go to the pub after work and get up the next day now. So I think those days, it was great while it lasted, but I wouldn't want to do it again.
Yeah, I get that. So talk to me about that 7 weeks away. What did you do? What was the...
So we went to Cape Town, travelled down it's called the Garden Route, so down from Cape Town to Port Elizabeth. Literally just travelling around, I've been to South Africa a few times, absolutely love it. The food, the wine, the people, it's amazing. And And then the whole time I was there, I was thinking, when I get back, I've got to go back to this job. They're giving me these 7 weeks off. They've said, get your head together and come back. And I kept thinking, what am I going to do? I really, really don't want to go back. So it was just a lot of thinking, really. And what else could be out there? What else could I do? And get up in the morning, go to a coffee shop, plan out the day or the next destination. And that's when I thought, my dad has a premises in Bedford that is a retail unit that he's not using anymore. He uses it for storage. It's like all boarded up. I reckon I could open a coffee shop. Like the way the ones we were going to was the same brand. And it was very simple processes, consistent coffee. They didn't overcomplicate it. It's all about the community and just having a good relaxed time and really good coffee. It's like, this is what I think I could do in Bedford. And then I started to spend my time in the coffee shop putting together a bit of a business plan. My dad isn't someone that really appreciates a business plan, but I thought I'll pitch it to him anyway. Immediately said no. Get back and get back to your job. I just kept going. I started doing the branding, doing more on the financials, contacting suppliers, and really put a lot of work into it. Rang him again to talk him through it. He said, it's not a no, it's a maybe. I'll pick you up from the airport. And he did. To be fair to him, he picked me up from the airport. We went straight to the site. He said, just talk him through it. So I did. And this was like a warehouse that hadn't been used in years. It did have glass frontage, but it was all smashed in. And he said, right, you obviously are clearly very passionate. Have you resigned? And I had, but I hadn't told him I'd resigned. So I didn't have a job to go back to anymore anyway. And so, yeah, and it went from there. And then as soon as I got back, it was find the builders, find the contacts, and put a plan together to get this place open. And I'd done a lot of work while I was out in South Africa. I was very determined that this is what I was going to do. If it wasn't in that location, I had some other viewings lined up to look at some other places in Bedford. I did my barista training while I was out in South Africa because I didn't have any. I have hospitality experience from working in a pub or different events from when I was younger, but I didn't have any direct coffee experience. I just was filled with absolute ambition to do this and not go back to my other job, and thinking HR was all about people skills. I talked to people all day, every day. Can I do that in a hospitality environment whilst making really good coffee and making it consistent and really replicate what I'd seen in South Africa? So yeah, it was an absolute drive and determination. And luckily my dad is very, very supportive, and he let me convert the building back to something.
It's bizarre how sometimes you just need some space to just work out what it is that you want to do or what your passion is. And I think that sometimes people either don't allow themselves the space or given that space to just think.
Yeah, I was very lucky because when I decided I wanted to go away, I resigned from the company, and they were great at putting a plan together to keep me and gave me the space to go away and said, kind of get your head together and please come back. We do see a career for you here. So I think I was lucky. That was a very big company and they were very supportive. But yeah, I think a lot of people wouldn't have taken the risk or wouldn't have been in a position to take the risk. Like my partner at the time, he was very supportive of me, and he was happy to. One day I was like, I've done it. I've resigned. I can't do it. But I was very lucky. The company was happy to support me.
It's pretty scary though, isn't it, to say I'm either going to resign or I'm going to start something new, because especially seeing as though you're saying you had no experience in doing it, I think there needs to be an element of just being a little bit nuts to start that sort of thing. Yeah. In the nicest way possible.
I think you have to just back yourself sometimes. I don't think I'm a very big-headed person, but I knew I was good at HR. I knew the feedback was good. I was progressing really well. I think them putting in this plan in place to keep me had given me a bit of a big head and some confidence. Yeah. So I was like, I reckon I can do this. In the nicest, I didn't really know what I didn't know at the time. I was like, how hard can it be to make coffee? I was immediately humbled on day one of my barista course, because there's a lot that goes into it, and it was a lot harder than I thought, and it took a lot of practice. And I mean, I'm still learning, still practicing every single day. But I didn't appreciate enough at the time was how much I would use the skills that I'd learned about talking to people in the hospitality environment. I just thought I would be able to run a business because I'd grown up in both my parents run businesses, so it's like all I've ever known, all we've ever talked about at the dinner table. So there was a few things I was in my head I think I knew I needed. So I was like, right, I can go and get the barista qualification. I've got the support of my dad. My parents can run a business, so I can run a business, and they will always support me and answer my questions. So I was just like, yeah, can do that. And I do think I was a bit nuts and probably a bit naive.
Yeah.
And my parents did have to humble me a few times and put me back in my box and be like, that's just not realistic.
Yeah.
But you needed that. They also kind of let me run away with ideas, and then they'd kind of bring me back down, because I think you need that opportunity to kind of let your imagination run. Otherwise the business would never have got off the ground.
Yeah, I think there's a few things there. Firstly, I don't think anyone realises how difficult it is, like the whole barista side of it, until you start doing it. I mean, even at a very small level, I got a little like one of those sort of coffee machines, and I said to you before when I came in, I just don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like, and there's so many layers to it, because I use the beans from yours.
Yeah.
And I try to there's so many things. It's like how fine it is, the pressure, like all sorts of stuff that I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it every morning. But then there's also you need that balance of, if you don't have that confidence in yourself and the belief to go and do something, there's no point doing it. But you also need to know that, like you say, you're going to get humbled at some point. So that passion, that drive has to be there, because otherwise, if it's not, that first experience of saying, this ain't going to work as I thought, could really hurt and knock you back.
Yeah, no, definitely. I still like, it still goes wrong. There's so many different elements to making a coffee, and I'm still learning. I just employed someone actually that I would say is 10 times better than I am, and best hire ever, because I can now learn again. I've done 3 years of not really learning, and I think he'll be able to teach me a lot. And I think you do need that as well. So I'm hoping to pick up some more tips.
I think what's the saying, that you should always hire people that are better than you
Yeah,
in something?
I hadn't really, until I interviewed him, and when he talked through his experience, I'm always very honest. I don't know it all, and I want to hire people that challenge me and say, like, why'd you do it like that? Doesn't make any sense. Like that is what I want from staff, because otherwise I definitely don't know it all. So I'd love to rip things up and restart.
So talk me through the process, right? So you've landed, you've seen the site, and you've been given the green light. What did you have prepared already, and what was the first, let's say, 3 months like?
So we got it. I landed back in April, and we opened at the end of July. So it was find a builder, which my dad kindly had found a builder. So he was ready to go. And whilst I was away, I'd done all the kind of drawings of what I wanted it to look like. I had no idea on the size of the coffee shop at all. So it was all like very rough, just drawings of what I thought I needed, how many people. It actually started that it would be half the size it was now, and it would just be more takeaways, and it would have one bench at the front for people to sit down. And quickly we realised that just wouldn't be a profitable model. Like, it wasn't a train station. It wasn't going to work. Yeah. There was enough footfall just to offer takeaway coffees. So we moved it into both sides. There were like two sides to the building. So we took both. I had some battles with my dad about how far back the coffee shop would go, because behind the shop he still uses as storage,
right.
And it runs back through to some more offices. So we agreed on a point, and then we just got the builders in and absolutely ran with it. I had everything prepared in terms of like colour, the branding I wanted. My coffee roaster was great at helping with the layout of the bar and what the process should look like. So it was just a lot of shopping, a lot of moving stuff around for weeks, and getting the builders set up and ready to go.
And was it a case of you had sort of self-funded it, or did you get loans out, or how did you work it?
Yeah, so I was lucky that I had a plan to kind of take out loans and self-fund it, but I was lucky that my dad stepped in and he was happy to kind of loan me some money to get it off the ground. And then I just tried to cost save as much as I can. So we, like furniture, for example, it was all from Facebook Marketplace, or some of it was out of my old flat in London. It was all from some of my friends moving house. I took some of their old furniture, and actually just recently I have replaced that furniture. So it's taken 3 years to really start looking at places where I scrimped at the beginning to start upgrading them, which has actually been quite a nice feeling to get rid of the old sofas that we had and some of the old tables and my old chairs out my flat that were wobbling a bit. I was like, they need to go. But yeah, it was a bit of both. So it was some funding to do the building work because it was really bad before. It was in a really bad state and all the glass windows were smashed in to get it to where it is now. But yeah, try and scrimp where I could, but had to invest to make it look as good as we could.
It's a balance, isn't it? Because you want to get the best you can, but it's money adds up real quick. Like I think when most people set out a project for doing stuff, and I'm guilty of this as well, is I set up a project and there'll be X amount, and then it already, like before you've even scratched the surface, you've spent what you think you're going to spend. And if you've got no experience in it, it's so hard to do that and not. You haven't got a bottomless pit of money. Yeah,
I had no idea how much a glass window would cost to replace and things like that, and that was obviously far more necessary than new sofas. So yeah, it was a lot of requests to friends like, you thinking of replacing that coffee table anytime soon? Because I'll buy it off you. So yeah, it was definitely interesting. We tried to do a lot of the initial work ourselves, like moving out and clearing it, but it needed. Like the ceiling needed to be replaced. It was basically falling down when we took it over.
So is it 3 years you've been there now?
Yeah, in July we just celebrated 3 years.
Nice. What are those? If you had to sum up those 3 years in a sentence, what would it be?
I'd say a slow burner. And this is probably my naivety. I went into it thinking, with all of these kind of financial models worked out, thinking that it was just going to fly from the get-go because the coffee shops I'd been like working from or talking to the owners of, they were in cities and they were in very busy, like quite affluent areas, like in London or whatever. And I think I was really naive to think that instantly I would just get footfall. I had zero marketing experience. So that I went into with no real idea about where to invest, what to do. I think the only good point was I knew Bedford. So I'd grown up here, been to school here, had an understanding of what Bedford was like and what customers were like and what I thought that the town needed and how I could be different.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's taken a while. I would say only now, like 3 years in, am I getting some real like stability and consistent days. And so, yeah, it has just taken a really long time to get to that place.
I think there's a lot of that where good, sustainable business, I thought, like even for me, I thought it'd be like a lot quicker than it is.
Yeah.
And things just take time. And where you are is kind of just outside of town. So you're kind of not getting town sort of footfall, are you? So you kind of, is most of it of people in the area, or are they sort of parking there, or what? How have you kind of found that, and how have you like maximised that?
I think that's what everyone said to me when I initially, before I opened and started telling people about it and where it was. It's like, coffee shop on Wellington Street will never work. Absolutely never work. It's like, what have you got around you? But I saw it differently. I saw the opportunity of, we have a Queen Street car park, had 2 hours free parking. It was a well-utilised car park. Like if you go there at 9 o'clock, you can't get a space. You've got a good, a pub up the road, the Wellington Arms, with a really good reputation. You've got Bedford Battery opposite, where customers drop their cars, and you've got Quick Fit next door. You had Cox Beauty Salon on the corner. So you had businesses around with really good reputations, and you had nowhere in a walking distance where you could go. So I knew people knew of the area, but they just couldn't, no one could really see the potential. And I did start to doubt myself, the more people that said that. And now all of those things kind of do come true. We have customers of the pub. We have people that park in the car park, like people that work in the prison that go past. The Quick Fit customers, they're some of our absolute best. And people that are walking down, they don't want to park in town.
Yeah.
They want to park outside of town and walk through. So yeah, it was probably something that I didn't consider enough, and people's feedback was really helpful. It was concerning, but it was helpful. And it's something I have to do more of. Now I'm not shy. When I first opened, I was shy to say, oh yeah, Wellington Street. And now I just say, do you know where Quick Fit is? Yeah, we're next door to Quick Fit. Like, use landmarks that people know and go to. And we're just off Tavistock Street near Quick Fit, and people do know exactly where we are, or the pub. People know the pub.
Most of the time, people know a pub.
Yeah.
Don't they? I think when you've got an image in your head, it's really hard to not see it. And when people can't see it, I'm very much of, if people can't see what I can see, it frustrates me that they can't see what I can see. So I'm like, how did you not understand this is a good idea? But I think it's also the branding colours make it stand out as well. Like you can see it like as you drive past. And did you? So you had no marketing experience when you were like creating the brand and the colours and stuff. Was that just you winging it, or was
I mean, absolutely winging it. I'm ashamed to say I started on paint. So that was only like 3.5 years ago. I didn't know how to like use colours or like make, this is pre-Canva. I didn't know how to do anything. So I just was literally playing around on paint.
I love that.
And then I had a little go on like Word, PowerPoint. I think I ended up on PowerPoint trying to create something. I was set on it being green. And I've just found a very like earthy, neutral colour. And then linking it with the white I thought was very clean and crisp. But yeah, that literally just came from me playing around on paint and then PowerPoint.
I think people overthink branding a lot sometimes, where it can just be that simple. Like I spent hours and hours and hours thinking about company names and logos and all this sort of stuff. And it ended up being just a word in a plain text. And I'm completely happy with it.
Yeah.
So I think some people think that it has to be like crazy and amazing when actually, as long as, so where did number 7 come from? So is that from your 7 weeks off?
This is like my least favourite question ever. But because it was a bit of an error on my behalf.
Really?
When I took over the building, because it's owned by the site, either side of the road is owned by Bedford Battery. Right. And there was a big confusion over what number this building was. Oh. And from South Africa and Google Maps, I was adamant that it was number 7. Like that's what everything was telling me. And I designed all this branding and I loved it. And I was like, I'd made I'd really made a brand story around, I was away for 7 weeks, which I was. I was going to do 7 types of tea. We were going to open at 7 in the morning. I had a real like story created. It turns out it's number 3. So I was like so far gone on the journey. And that's something I always say, like, would I change it? And like, yeah, probably from a marketing perspective, like, and from an easy address perspective, I would change it. But
starting at 3 a.m. is an early start.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. So I think it fits the brand. It is kind of is what it is. There is no number 7 on that road.
There is now.
Yeah, there is now. So people know we're either 3 Wellington Street or number 7 Coffee House.
I mean, it works.
Yeah. And we still open at 7. Now I can never not open at 7.
Yeah. 7's even still early.
It is.
So what you said that your family's always sort of had a business and been part of running a business. How did you find the process of being, so you're in HR and you know that side of things. How did you find the process of going from working corporate life, getting paid every month, consistent, to everything being on you?
Yeah, that was a big shock because I think at first there's so much spending to be done. It was like, how do you how did I work? How was I going to like pay staff? How was I going to pay myself? How was I going to work any of this out? But yeah, I did really, really use my parents to kind of map that out for me and help make those decisions. I think one of the big mistakes I made at the start was I hired 6 people.
Wow.
Yeah. I had no idea how. That's just something I absolutely made an error with. I had no idea how to staff this. I had these big aspirations of how busy it was going to be. So I was going to be working full-time. I employed 2 other full-time and then part-timers. Quickly realised that was not required. And now quite often I work on my own and there's a team of basically, well, two and a bit in the shop really. And then I have other people that help me with events. So yeah, I quickly downscaled, but that was just absolutely unnecessary cost that I took on at the beginning. But from having no experience, but yeah, it was a learning curve.
But I think you need those sometimes. Is that just a case of you were working it out kind of from where you were, busier coffee houses?
But I was thinking it was going to be much busier, and I was looking at, when I was kind of modelling it out, I was thinking that you wouldn't be able to cope on your own because I was looking at coffee shops that did food service as well.
Right.
And we don't do food. We have cold snacks available, but we don't actually have a kitchen. So you don't, we do have table service, but you're not running food to and from tables and taking orders into the kitchen. So yeah, it was just an absolute misstep on my behalf. But I've learned from it and I'm very tight now on hours.
When you were working it out, obviously you said that you spent a lot of time in coffee shops when you were away, and doing your courses and stuff, I find it really interesting that there's kind of, with coffee, you can have really quick coffee, like you go to the Starbucks and it's just in and out, but it's not as good, obviously, right? So how do you find, was the design when you're thinking it of being sort of the quick type of, like you say, in and out, or because the flavour in it and everything around it is so much different depending on how you make it, right?
Yeah. I think there were things that I wanted to get right, which was the consistency, doing it quickly, but also being really having really good customer service. So I invested heavily in good equipment. What else did I do? I think, mainly the investment I knew I needed to invest in the good equipment, but the coffee I chose was a very like palatable coffee, I would say. Sometimes you can go into coffee shops and the coffee is amazing, but it's not like an easy drinking coffee.
Yeah.
So you've got someone that will drink their coffee black, someone that will want a really milky latte. It doesn't work across both. It probably works in one really well. So I chose a coffee that was an all-rounder. And I chose a machine that would mean I could get coffees out really quickly. And it's probably only now that I'm getting to a stage where I'm really utilising that machine to its full capacity because we are getting really busy. So that was a big investment up front. But I think it was about prioritising what I wanted to do. There are so many coffee shops in Bedford, so many that do it amazingly. How was I going to do it differently? And that came down to like the early opening times and being able to do a really consistent cup of coffee like very quickly. Even now people are like, how do you do that so quickly? I mean, I try and multitask where I'm like, you're still telling me your order and I already start making it. Little things like that where I just think, no, I hate waiting for a coffee. So how can I make sure people don't? I'm always, if I see someone coming, like 99% of people have a coffee, start pouring a shot of coffee ready to serve for them. So just little things like that as people build up in the queue, constantly pouring shots.
How do you remember what people have? Because I'm pretty sure I came in for the second time and you remembered.
I don't know many people's names. I know people's coffees orders. I can tell you what everyone drinks, or if someone's telling me a story about someone, I'm like, oh yeah, that's flat white, and like he has an oat latte. I don't know. Because I do want to get people in and out the door quickly, particularly takeaway customers. So I do like take a like mental picture of them, remember what they have. And 9 times out of 10, they have the same thing. Annoyingly, sometimes I can see someone walking from the car park and I'm like, oh, that's a flat white. They'll come in, they're like, I fancy a decaf tea today. And I'm like, okay, I'll just drink that one. But yeah, I don't know. I don't ever think I ever had a good memory, but coffee orders I can remember.
Was that like a conscious effort, or it just sort of started happening?
It did just start happening, but now I've learned that there are regulars that really do appreciate it. Have a lot of people that come in like 3 or 4 times a week, and actually they might come in on their own, and you just being able to remember what they have or remember what cake they liked and didn't like is just such a nice touch for them. So I don't, in terms of like my old job, this job is I would say like relatively easy. Like the day to day is like chatting to customers and making coffees. Like it's not stress. I don't find it stressful when I'm at work.
Yeah.
So if I can like do that to make someone else's day is kind of what I try and do all the time now. So I look at someone, I'm like, that's what they have. And
it is a really nice touch. It's nice we were talking about it on a previous podcast, where just that little bit of feeling like, I think people generally want to feel remembered or want to feel part of something. And that's the whole community of a coffee shop, right? You want to feel like part of it. I also think that starting at 7, I don't know why so many coffee shops don't do it.
That's what, when I was researching all the coffee shops in Bedford, put them all into a spreadsheet. They all opened at 8 or 8:30. It's like, I had to do something different. Yeah.
So you miss that. The only thing now is the school traffic. I don't come down that road anymore. I go around the other way.
Yeah, but at 7, there's no school traffic. So if you have to come before the school traffic.
Yeah, I have to get up early.
So that's what and that's probably one of the best decisions I think I made for the coffee shop, was just taking on an hour before anyone else opens. It was not busy at first. It was times where I was like, why am I doing this? I was the only one there for an hour. So I put on an offer in the morning. So I did flat whites at £1.50 between 7 and 8. And I just slowly got attraction of people that started coming in. Got people on the way to the station, dog walkers, people on their way to work, come and sit in. And now it's probably my busiest hour every day of the week is 7 till 8 consistently. So it has worked. There are mornings, like Monday mornings, where is the last thing I want to do is get out of bed at 5:30. But
5:30, ouch.
yeah, I've got 2 dogs that I always walk before I go to work. So otherwise I find I cannot get up and go straight into talking to people. So whatever the weather, I have to get up, walk the dogs, get the fresh air, and then go to work. So
Yeah, ouch.
it's early. I've always been a morning person.
There's a morning person, and there's 5:30.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
That's nuts. So in the 3 years, we've kind of there's been a bit of a trend that we've sort of taken on. I don't know how it's happened, but there's been a lot of talk about Bedford in obviously it's a Bedford podcast, but there's been a lot that's changed in Bedford over the last, I feel like more in the last year. Have you seen any trends in terms of kind of the high street not being as busy, or general sort of feeling over the last year of what it's been like as a business owner in effectively you are in the town centre, aren't you?
Yeah. I think for me, I look at it I went to school in Bedford, so quite a while ago, and I have great memories of like finishing school, going into the town centre, sitting on St. Peter's Green, like being with friends. And I don't know whether it's the like brassness of being a child that I never felt unsafe. I never had any negative like connection with Bedford at all. And then since coming back, there obviously has been a shift in the town centre. But previously I was living in Brixton. So a totally like different situation. Like whilst I lived there were shootings, there were stabbings. But again, I never felt like unsafe there either. I feel like I'm quite a streetwise person, and I've been brought up to kind of try and be streetwise wherever you are in the world. So I do find it hard. I don't personally find Bedford an unsafe place to be. I do think it's changed, but I do think every high street has changed over the last however many years it's been. From a business perspective, we're getting busier, so I can't relate that to like the town centre getting quieter.
Yeah,
I think people are using the town centre differently to they used to. I used to go to Topshop and Wilko's after school, and like different and Subway. We'd always get a Subway and then cookies and like I have great memories of that. But I don't think children or adults are using the town centre like we used to. There's definitely no Topshop anymore anywhere. But I think recently, I worry that Bedford has been given quite a bad reputation recently, and I really don't believe that it is as bad as it's being portrayed. And that's where social media can kind of run away and create an image of a place. I think every town, every high street has its issues and its problems going on, and obviously there are issues and there are people struggling. But I also think Bedford is blessed with some amazing charities. The King's Arms project are just around the corner from me, and I talk to them like weekly and see what's going on. And they're about to launch their winter night shelter. Like there are a lot of things going on to support people in Bedford, as well as kind of the negative side that we keep seeing on social media. But yeah, I it's like something I struggle with and I worry about, because I just think it's been given quite a bad reputation. And a lot of people want to help. I think I'm probably one of those people that doesn't really know where to put my like time or efforts to help, because as a business, everyone's working so hard to kind of protect their business, build their business. And then it's how do we help? How do we not get in the way of the police or the services that are also working towards that goal as well?
it is a really difficult one, and I'm in the same sort of park as you, where I don't know. Thing is, I don't know what I don't know. I'm not there all the time, right? I'm not in town. I don't see things. I rarely go into town. But I do think that there's. I think you're right. Any town centre now, a lot of shops are shut and a lot boarded up and things like that. That then means that other people are more likely to go there and find somewhere to be. But I don't think that it's as bad as everybody makes it out to be. And a lot of people make it out to be. And I also think that, I don't know. I don't know what this universal thing, I think that's all kind of an up in the air thing as well. Could change a lot, but I don't know how it will change it.
Yeah, it feels very unknown, actually. A lot of people were quite excited at first, and it now feels like there's a bit of a nervousness or a ambition to make Bedford look like something it's not. And we're a small town that's like a feeder to London, really. I think we do very well at commuter town. Loads of my friends and people I know commute down to London every day on the train. It's only 40 minutes. I don't know if we're trying to be something that we're not in Bedford.
Yeah, I do get that sort of feel that I use a stupid example, and it's probably going to go over most people's heads, but we're kind of like a football club that kind of have a good academy and then they go off to a bigger club. Like, we are here, a lot of Bedford is, like you say, it's cheaper to live here than it is in London. And that's just who we are. Yes, we've got a lot of a history that we're a market town, and I think that we forget about that sometimes, and the market maybe needs to be spoke about a little bit more. But I also think there's a lot of stuff going on. There's obviously the River Festival that happens. There's like concerts and stuff. I think there's a lot of efforts to try and make it better. But it's like anything. You can focus on the negatives in any space, and it's always going to sound so much worse, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. That's such a good point, because the concerts in Bedford, I mean, we have some amazing headliners in Bedford. That it's like a tiny town in our park that I walk the dogs around. And then at the weekend, you've got like amazing people performing.
Yeah.
I do think we're very lucky. So I think that's maybe been missed recently, actually, some of the positives. And there's a lot that businesses do to promote the town centre, but we can't fix every single problem, but nowhere can, and nowhere in the world can. So I hope the message, I actually have seen a shift in the last couple of weeks that it's starting to feel a bit more positive again. I think there's a nicer message coming through about the town, but I maybe now see that as where my role as someone that has a business here is. It's about promoting it a bit more and talking about Bedford positively, which I've always done, but being a bit more open with my opinions about it rather than just sitting back and not saying anything. Yeah,
it's a difficult one because you don't want to. It's a difficult one to manage because you want to. Everyone has their own opinions, but you don't want to like isolate anybody in doing that. So it is a bit of a difficult one. You touched on earlier about social media. How has social media sort of supported you, and have you got? Do you feel like the businesses social media support the growth of the business?
Yeah, more than I think I realised initially. So I used to do all my social media myself and just using Canva, not Paint, thankfully. And all I knew when I went into it, I had no social media experience, was that everyone just said just post regularly, just build a following, build an engaged following, and just post and put out content. So I was putting out the most random, boring content you can imagine. I think that kind of evolved as the business evolved, where customers were in, you could get more organic shots. I tried around with a few things. I then hired someone on the event side who was also brilliant at doing some socials. So she picked up a few hours a week doing the social media. And then in the last few months really, I now have someone who's amazing at doing my socials. And it's hard, I find it quite hard to measure, but I would say that sales have increased since she's been doing it, and my reach online is much bigger than it was. I do think there's a massive importance. Every day people come in and they're like, I've never heard of you. How did I hear about you? I saw you on Instagram, or I saw you on Facebook. Someone shared you in this Facebook group. So I do think there's a massive reach out there that I just had no idea about. The one thing I did think when I moved, I didn't use Facebook when I first opened the shop, and there was a lot happening on Facebook in Bedford, and I quickly realised I had to reactivate my Facebook account and get into these groups, because I don't know, I wasn't in any like Facebook groups in London or any community groups, but Bedford has a massive audience and a very engaged audience in these groups. So that was something I tried to do, was like build a brand online but on Facebook, and that was a bit alien to me because by this point everyone was kind of shifted back to over to Instagram and TikTok. So that's been a bit of a learning, and then thinking about what you can and can't post in these groups and how much of an opinion to give on certain things. But no, I think we're really lucky to have an engaged audience on Facebook. I think a lot of places would really love it to have businesses be able to post in groups and then get a massive response.
Yeah, I think that there's a social media is always it's always an intangible thing to work out, isn't it? Because it's really, unless you're selling a product directly from there, it's really hard to say X amount of views equals X amount of sales, and I've got X more views equals X more sales. When it's really hard. But I do think, obviously, with what we do, it's such a powerful way of growing a business, and I think people get so much pressure, like you say, about posting consistently. Consistency, like normally in most things, it's like quality over quantity. But just obviously still have to do good stuff, but I think people overthink so much about just posting. It has to be really, really good content all the time, especially when you're starting out. Just post.
Yeah, I think it did work, just posting. I'd post about where the coffee came from, what my roaster was like. And now it's moved into a bit more organic stuff about trying to get to know like myself that works there, get to know Shim, who's one of the baristas. She's been with me since the beginning. Like people love her. Like, how do I use social media for people to get to know her more? And then people find that really engaging. And then dogs. People love dogs.
Yeah, you got the dog wall, haven't you?
Yeah, we have the dog wall.
I really like as well. I think you do it. You do it every morning. You do your opening hours.
Yeah, I try and take a picture of like the first coffee of the day or the first few, depending which one looks the nicest, and post it online and say we're open. And that's just kind of my way of like reminding people that we're here and we're open.
I really like that idea. I think that works really well because it's not like really salesy or anything like that, but it's just that little reminder every single day.
Yeah.
That's probably my favourite thing that you guys do. It's just that little one every single day. It's that little nudge all the time that I think really works.
Just get your brand up in this. That's my kind of thinking. Just get your brand into the stories. So then that green logo is in someone's Instagram stories and we're there and, oh, look, they're open again. And that's it consistently, like, and touch wood, because I was saying this to someone the other day that we haven't had to close for randomly just close for a day yet. I'm sure there will be the time where sickness or something happens, but we try and be consistent and just work around and work with the staff that we have to make sure we are open as much as possible. Because I think there are some times where people rely, like there are times where you just, I find it hard to get in or show up, or the rota is really difficult to work around. But coffee becomes part of someone's routine. So if the coffee shop isn't open, you lose that, you fall out of someone's routine is my worry.
Yeah.
And then they find a new routine. So it was like, what things will keep us in people's minds? And it's always being able to open our door to customers. So just little things like that, where I think some places like might struggle to do that. I was like, how can I as a business not do that? So like the opening hours at 7, some people would struggle for that. But I was like, force myself to open.
There's lots of little things that business owners have to do that just go unnoticed, because like if you break it down, waking up at 5:30 makes complete sense, because you got to get up, you got to do your thing, you got to get in, you don't open the door at 7 and you don't get there at 7. Like, you got to get there. But it's all those little things that to the outside world it just looks easy and as it is. You know what I mean? There's so many like micro things that have to be done every day.
Yeah.
To get to a point where you're opening up every day at 7 o'clock. That's not just that's a conscious effort every single time.
Yeah, and I can't take all the credit. I do have an amazing team, not just the girls and the boys that work for me. It is more than that. Like, it's family members. My boyfriend is amazing. He picks up the sandwiches for me every morning from the bakery and brings them into the shop. Like, there are little things like that if he didn't do that, I would have to have someone work in the shop, and that costs money because I would have to go and pick them up. Whereas I try and work as much as I can, because that for me is the cheapest way to run the business.
Yeah, for sure.
So I rely on people to do all sorts, and like he has a very flexible job, so he can walk the dogs. Whereas sometimes I would have to go home and like let the dogs out. And so, yeah, it definitely takes a number of people to make it happen. I've relied on my mum at working different things with me to try and stay open, and bringing in different friends and family members when we need to. But yeah, you're right. There are so many little things that just happen without even thinking about it, that I'm very well supported.
Has it ever caused, like, for me, I have work that's part of my life all the time. Like, it's always in my head, ideas or thoughts or stresses or frustrations. Has it ever caused any, like, how do you sit with it? Because it sounds like you've got a really good sort of support network, but it's not always like easy, is it?
No, I think one of the things I used to struggle with a lot more, I think I'm getting better at it, my friends might disagree, is I felt so isolated. Like, going from a big company and working in consulting, I was in a big team. I always had someone to ask questions, brainstorm, blue sky thinking. It was all of that, constantly being able to soundboard off other people. I was going into do number 7. I was trying to make all these decisions on my own. I made so many decisions at the beginning where I didn't ask, I didn't speak to anyone. I just tried to do things myself, just for pure, like, maybe embarrassment. I thought I should know it and I didn't.
Yeah, I get
so I
that
was like,
completely.
I'll just do it. And then it was the wrong thing, and I wasted money here, wasted money there. And now I'm try and be a lot better at asking people. Even asking on social media, a lot of people know the answer. There are some amazing people in business that I now would reach out to, try and find a connection rather than just trying to start from scratch with every decision. And I do actually use AI a lot now in my job. So I still feel like sometimes quite isolated, but I'm trying to kind of structure my use of AI to kind of like problem solve before I then go to someone else. And that for me seems to give me that confidence and understanding, and I can like use kind of a deep research of something, like summarize it, and then go forward with a decision. So I'm trying to push myself down that route where my business isn't massive. It's probably never going to be massive where there's two people, like another one of me running it. So I need to get comfortable being uncomfortable making those decisions quite quickly. So I found that's really helped me as someone that needs to learn things very quickly. So some people don't like AI, but I am trying to use it in the best way that I can to upskill and do that. But yeah, ask questions. Everyone's already been through these things that's opened a business. So I definitely wish I'd done that more because, I think I would have made less mistakes.
I think that I was in exactly the same position as you. As where I started out, I should know all the answers. I should know everything. I should be the master of whatever it is that I was doing. But I think it's so good to ask questions. And I also think AI, it's not going anywhere, right?
Yeah.
It's in whatever capacity, we've got it. It's there to stay. And if you don't maximize it, I feel like you could fall behind quite quickly.
Yeah. I think that's what the kind of the view that I'm taking is that I work on my laptop in the shop between customers. So how can I save time? I have like email templates for everything set up, like all of my like interview questions, like templates, inviting people to different things, responses, event invitations, like everything I've ever do twice, I make sure there's AI has created me some kind of template.
Yeah.
And just little things like that, like even trying to research a new trend, or the other day I was like, right, what could be coming up in the coffee industry? I used to go through news articles. Now just put it into AI, summarize it, make this Bedford focus. Like just trying to constantly upskill myself. But I was very skeptical at first, but now I see it as, it just sounds weird when you say it. I almost see it as like having a business partner on my laptop, because I can answer these questions. I can ask stupid questions and I can get answers that help me understand it. Now, don't get me wrong, I've made some mistakes, and Lydia, who does my socials, I sent her a load of like, these are the dates for this month and when I want to do this, and this is, I can't remember what the day it was. It was some like one of these random days. She's like, thankfully, she got stung by it and she checked it, and AI does spit out some errors. So I think it's just about knowing that now, and Lydia always checks, and now I always double check things. So yeah, you can get fooled by it, but I'm a big advocate for it.
I think it's really good at doing that first level of the time saving stuff. The amount of times that you write emails or whatever, you definitely have to read through it, because I've also been like stung by it by put the completely wrong. It's like you put in the prompt, if you do it slightly kind of off piste, it will just go off on one about something random. And I've been stung by it before, but it's such a time saver. And I get what you mean. Sometimes you need someone to just, it kind of feels like you've got someone to just bat some ideas off of, or kind of that sounding board, because it can be lonely when it's just you and you're pushing through, and every day, especially like you're like just you there for I don't know however long without any customers or anybody in there. That's tough.
Yeah. They're the tough days. Oh, and I would say today was actually a particularly tough day. It was my quietest day in a very long time. And it's like, how do you keep motivated? And for me, I try and plan for the future, think about what that looked like. Today, I tried to build myself a little LinkedIn plan for how I was going to rebuild. I want to do some work on my own LinkedIn and rebuilding my brand, because I think I focused a lot on number 7 over the last 3 years. And now how do I rebrand myself? So that's what I did today. I made a little LinkedIn schedule. But yeah, it's easy to just get bogged down and feel very isolated with decisions. I got in a little battle with AI I was trying to get it to help me design a tote bag. And it's not great at images.
No.
It just totally, you kind of think you've got somewhere and then you ask it to tweak one thing and it absolutely
whole
throws
thing
it off.
changes again,
Yeah. But I think we've got somewhere now. Hopefully some tote bags coming soon. But yeah, I do use it every day. I absolutely rely on it, and you can just soundboard decisions all the time.
Yeah. What does the... So firstly, do you think these, you know, so you had a day today where it was just quiet. Do you see that as just a blip, or do you like, I'm an overthinker, so as soon as things go quiet, I'm like, oh, we've done this wrong, we've done this wrong, we need to react and do this? Or are you just like, today's just a day?
And I used to be very much like, wow, I need to change something. This isn't right. Cancel that person's shift. We can't afford it anymore. Need to cut back here. But now I just think it's just hospitality. It's just the wave that we are on in hospitality. Someone will ask me when my busiest times are, and then no one will come in.
Yeah.
So I hate to even answer that question anymore. Saturday I had one of my best ever mornings in the shop on Saturday, and it can be a bit of an up and down for us. And then the next shift I do Monday is one of the worst I've had in ages. So I think it's just about riding the wave, making sure I've got other stuff to do in the background, which there is always lots. But yeah, trying not to overthink it, because I can immediately go into absolute panic mode. I had some meetings. I have a meeting room upstairs above the coffee shop, so we're trying to utilise that space and get them rented out. I had 2 cancelled today, and that can feel like a bit of a hit to the takings that were planned for October. But it's like, move on right now, remarket the rooms, need to go out, find more customers for them, and just kind of reposition in my head that it's just one customer. Move on, find others.
What you recently just got a new, how do you describe it? It's like at the rugby club, right?
The coffee. So it's the number 7 coffee hut.
Yeah, I was trying to
It's a
think
shed,
of
really, but a shed's not very glamorous.
I was going to say shed, but I thought I don't want to like say it's a shed.
I know.
How did that come about?
So we had two seasons ago. The rugby club approached me about whether I would do the coffee at the rugby club and how that might look, what that might look like. Initially, I just wasn't sure if it's something I could do, or didn't have any experience in like mobile coffee. But found a vehicle which is called an Ape. It's like a Piaggio Italian Ape, which is easiest to call a tuk-tuk, but it's a motorised tuk-tuk with 3 doors at the back that go up. So great little vehicle. We purchased that, and we did the rugby club and other events for 2 seasons with that machine. The downside of it is that it, because how it's set up, it's not very good in adverse weather, right. Which down at the rugby club is a lot of wind and rain, and you're working through like the worst month of the year, really, like the January, December, February time. It can be really cold. And after 2 seasons, there was probably 50% of the games that I was working, something would go wrong. And I was like, this is just it's not enjoyable. It's very stressful on a Saturday afternoon for that to be happening. And it's just not the right vehicle for it. So let's not do it again. Let's continue with other events, but let's not do the rugby club. Anyway, ended up moving on from that vehicle, and the rugby club have talked us into doing a shed, which we're calling the coffee hut. And it's actually much better. This is where I went wrong. And one decision I went wrong initially. I should have done more research into what would work down there with the weather. But we now have a shed that's been insulated. We've painted it green, so it's all in our branding. It's got better equipment in it. So it's definitely been an investment, but I think it will serve the purpose for many seasons now down there.
Nice.
The quality of the coffee will be much better than what I could do on the machine. Like we talked about earlier, there's so many different elements that go into making a good coffee. Something that makes it go wrong very easily is the weather, and you're so exposed on the old equipment, on the old events vehicle, that the quality that was coming out just wasn't where I wanted it to be. And I kind of brought the events vehicle thinking it would pull people into the shop. And it was like, I'm not pulling people into the shop. It's either breaking, the coffee is coming out, it's not a good quality. I actually think it's going against like exactly why the marketing model is not working. So it was stop doing it when the weather's bad, and find an alternative. And this is, we're 2 games in, and it's gone really well. It's a much better setup. The quality coming out is much better. This is where the guy I've hired, he's got way more experience than I have. He's brilliant. And I think that the other girl, Rachel, she's absolutely brilliant as well, and they will be big assets to the company. So I've invested in them and invested in the machinery and the equipment, and now, hopefully it's a much better setup. But it's initially done to be I guess a marketing tool, because there's often 3,000 people down at the rugby every week that want to be there. A lot of them want a good quality coffee, so we knew the demand was there. And then it was about how I could get these people back into the shop. So I try and use it as a bit of a brand awareness to get people back. But yeah, it's good fun. It's a totally different shift. You're not in the coffee shop where people are coming to see you. You're providing a service at the rugby where they're there to see the rugby. So it's a different audience, but it's always good fun.
Do you think it's probably too early to tell if you've seen a real difference in the hut to the is it already bringing more traffic into the shop, do you think, or is it too early to tell?
I think it's too early to tell. I think the feedback has definitely been really, really positive from the 2 games we've done. The quality is definitely better.
In what way does the weather make a difference to the quality?
So it would change even the beans in the grinder get damp, and then the grinder clogs.
Right.
The wind that would come through the machine. So you're trying to pour a shot of espresso, the cup would blow off. The espresso shot would blow absolutely everywhere. Just anything that wasn't pinned down on the tuk-tuk would basically blow away. Right. So then you'd close all the doors and try and work from one small space, and it was absolute chaos.
I'm surprised you did 2 seasons. I would have given up after 1.
I'm surprised I did 2 seasons, but it was good. It's good fun down there. So you always, apart from a few people, most people are very, very nice and there for a good time, and they understood. You had a few people that would be like, I can't believe it's broken again. And it's like, thank you. Yeah. No, nor can I. But
that was all part of the design.
Yeah, this is what we wanted to happen today. But it was a learning curve. I think I went into that very naively, and I should have used my coffee. I've learned that a coffee roaster, having a coffee business, it should really be your right arm.
Yeah.
They typically have been there and done it. They can help you so much. And I use Deluxe Coffee Works, and the owner Sid and Liam. They are absolutely brilliant. They answer all of my questions. When I went to buy the events vehicle, I never asked them. I just went out. I saw it as a totally different thing to my coffee shop.
Yeah.
So where I speak to them weekly about the coffee shop, I didn't even tell them I was buying it. I bought the tuk-tuk is great, but the equipment that was in it was really poor quality. And so it's never really been at the level I wanted it to be to serve the quality that I do in the shop. So yeah, it was just, again, a learning curve where I cannot understand what was going through my head, where I didn't reach out to people that had worked in that industry.
I didn't even know that you would have a relationship with the people that kind of roasted your coffee. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but
I didn't until I reached out to them when I found their coffee. I reached out to them, and they manage all the relationships with the coffee machine. They where you get your coffee machine from, they manage the relationships with those providers.
Right.
And often the providers won't speak directly to the coffee shops because that's just how the industry is set up. But they have the coffee roaster should care about the cup of coffee being served by the coffee shop because it's their brand.
Yeah.
So I didn't really realize it at the time either, but now it to me makes perfect sense that they will come and check up on me in a really supportive kind of way to say, are you serving our product how it should be served?
Makes sense,
and if not, then can you and your staff come for training? What can we do to support you? Why is that not working? So you become a little partnership really, and that's what I think coffee roasters and the coffee shops they serve can work really nicely together if you do have that collaborative approach.
Yeah. What was the process like when you were choosing what coffee beans you wanted, or how do you even start that?
So for me, it was probably no one's ever done it this way before. But when I was in South Africa, I was drinking the brand of coffee a lot. They have a few shops in Cape Town, and that's where I really got the buzz for wanting to do it. They have this just no frills, simple approach to coffee where we're just here to serve a good cup of coffee. And I was like, this is what I want to do. So I reached out to the owners when I was in South Africa, and they went to their roastery in Cape Town. They showed me around, and they're amazing. They talked about how they'd opened the shops and did their roastery and how they'd expanded. And they said, oh, by the way, we've just sent someone from here over to the UK. He's opening up a UK arm of this business in Hammersmith in London. He's roasting from around the time you get back. Here's his contact details. So like the second day I was home, I was down in London meeting him. He'd just opened the roastery.
If that wasn't a sign.
Yeah. I was like, this is all coming together. But I knew that was the coffee I wanted to use. I'd actually had it 2 years before when I was in Cape Town, before I was there for that time. And I'd bought a bag home and I'd been like, this is so nice. It's so easy drinking. And this was before I really like cared about coffee. And I just was scrolling through my like old camera roll on my phone. And I saw the bag. This was before I even realised. It's like, wow, I actually had this a few years ago as well. But they've just been so supportive. And I knew that their model was what I wanted to replicate. So it was just a nice partnership.
Nice. I can get in when I start doing something, I can get like obsessed with it, right? So the amount of videos I've watched with people like weighing out their coffee beans, doing a little spray on it, and then like grinding it and weighing it when it's and putting little, what they call dampeners, what they called, and then like spinning them around and like putting like all sorts of aerators and some people the lengths they go to make a coffee. Like, I think it's cool, but I don't have the time or the patience for it.
I think that's the thing. I never wanted it to be this market that just pushed people away because it was too complicated. Like, some coffee shops you go in and the menu is so long, it's so hard to understand. I wanted to strike a balance where you can have your nice coffee, but like, it's just really easy to understand. And we don't have loads of like some of the technical stuff going on. We have one house blend and we have one decaf. I tried to have a couple of like single origin beans for people to use at home. They just didn't sell. I don't think we have the market here. People just want a good cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And everyone kept saying, oh, you should try like have a specific single origin. And it's not the market that we're in. In London, then definitely there is that level. But here it's like, just serve me a coffee. The amount of people that come in January, they're like, I got a coffee machine for Christmas. You haven't seen me all month because I've been trying to use it, but I'm back now. I'm like, yes. So there's always a bit of a drop off in January where everyone tries to use their own machines, but they come back.
I saw there was one in London, exactly that. They're doing all this stuff and then they're like pulling it down and all the water. I was just thinking, like, it takes ages.
And then you're waiting ages.
And then it's not even that hot either. I don't know if that's how they, I don't know, but I was like, thanks, and it cost me like £8 or something.
Yeah, it's not. And some people are like, don't bother with latte art on like takeaway coffees. Like, why do you bother? For me, that's just like, I like to try and do every pour as perfectly as possible, even though you put a lid straight on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably the most fussy bit that we care about. Is just make sure it looks pretty and tastes good.
How you do it? I tried and I tried and I tried and I just can't.
I was trying to teach someone today in the shop, and I think it is repetition. It's learning the process, learning the technique, and then it's just do enough of them.
Yeah, my milk just comes out way too like, it's meant to come out like silky and everything, and mine's just not.
Frothy.
Yeah, mine's just big bubbles. And
you have to come to number 7 in the morning, get your coffee.
Yeah. So you've got the hut and you've got the obviously the shop. What else is cooking? What else you got going on? What's the future look like? And So you still got the tuk-tuk as well for events?
We still have that for events, and we've got a few booked in for the remainder of this year. We find that the Christmas period is like our busiest time, so I do those as and when I can. At the weekends, so that is kind of keeping me busy. The rugby club commitment for the year. I don't know what's next. I keep toying around. I've looked at a couple of other coffee shops that have come up for sale. For some reason or another, a couple of them haven't been right. I'm looking at a couple of other options at the moment. I don't know if I'd want to do another one. I think it's this like sticky period where, I don't know what to kind of do as the next step. I think I will, but I think it would just have to be the absolute perfect opportunity that came up in the right location. And I think I took a bit of a gamble on this location being on the outskirts. I think I would need to be a bit more, I'd want it to have the footfall from day one. I couldn't go through another period where it was a really slow start. Personally, I have another little venture as a side project, which is Beerfly. So some friends and I bought Beerfly just over a year ago now. So that's, a bit of a side hustle. So 2 of the owners run it and work on it every day and are absolutely brilliant. And then there's a couple of us that are kind of more silent and do things in the background. And we've got a bit more involved in some events on St Cuthbert Street. So we've got another one hopefully coming up later this year as well. So that's something that keeps me busy on the side. But for number 7, TBC, but hopefully something else in the future.
How do you balance your time with obviously working a lot at number 7, doing events and having other side hustles you're doing and having a life, like a personal life? How do you balance it all?
I do feel very privileged to say that I don't ever feel like number 7 when I'm working is like a tedious, like I don't feel like it's a boring job. I really enjoy it. I have lovely customers that I speak to like all day, and they make it feel very fun and engaging. So in terms of like feeling super busy, I don't really during the week. I think the weekends, like the Saturday just gone where I worked in the shop, then went down to the rugby, set that up, and then there was the whole rugby shift and then closing up down there. That can feel like a really long day. But again, I really do enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, I make it work. I know I've mentioned it loads of times, but having that great support network has been absolutely critical for me. I couldn't do it without all the people around me. But I do feel very, very lucky to say I love what I do, so it doesn't always feel like horrible work. And then Beerfly is, it's great fun. Like we own a group of friends that own a bar. It comes with its risks. Like everyone was like, don't buy a business with your friends. But at Touchwood, we seem to be getting on really well, and it's worked out. We all come from different backgrounds and experiences, and all work in different industries. So yeah, that's an exciting one.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's like the ideal thing, isn't it? Mates owning a bar. That's that's a pretty cool thing to do.
Yeah. So yeah, we're looking at like what else we can do with Beerfly, and yeah, there's loads of opportunities, I think.
Yeah. It's a really difficult one when you talk about opening another number 7, because trying to replicate something without, like, you don't want to be exactly the same, because then it's just two of the same thing, and then it's how different do you want to be, and would it work the same if it's different, and then how do you split your time, because then you've got to have someone else, haven't you? Another you, like you said, like earlier, it's difficult to get. So what's the rough percentage you're thinking of that's going to be another one? Like, is it a 50-50?
Yeah, I would say it's 50-50, probably because of that consideration. Like I give a lot of my time to the coffee shop, and then when I'm not there, that's when it's really expensive. So how do I open another one and, yeah, like you say, replicate it, but split my time a bit more strategically between them? I don't know. And I'm a bit of I like to be there. I prefer to be at the coffee shop than not at the coffee shop. Like I try and not open every day of the week, so I make sure there's one day that someone else opens, just to get up at 7 instead of 5:30.
What a lame.
But then I end up going into the shop anyway. So it's really hard. I do spend a lot of my time there, but I do enjoy it. So I don't know how I would push myself to split my time, but I think I need to. I think I'm someone that I need to be challenged. And now not having a challenge of a company and being in an organization pushing me, I need to learn to push myself. Like doing this for me feels like pushing myself and doing different things. And now that's something that I'm trying to focus on personally for this year and next, thinking I can't be stagnant, because I will get bored and I'll get complacent. Yeah. So what can I do next? And as much as everyone says I probably don't handle stress that well, and I can be quite a stressy person, I like to be busy. I think I thrive on that. Yeah,
I'm the same. I'm my best when I'm busy. When there's not much going on, that's when I either overthink stuff or I get complacent. So I have to have stuff going on, but then I'm stressed and not very nice to be around. So
same, yeah.
That's everyone else's problem, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, when Mitch was on from the mill, we were talking about how he's got full-time work and obviously the mill, but the way he sort of kind of spoke about it similar to you, like even when he's not working, he's there, but he's like, I just love work and that's just okay. I think there's so much that I feel like there was such a view that you're either a career person or you're like a family person, and there was like no in between. But I think that it's okay to enjoy work and work a lot, and you can still have a life and family and friends and everything, but it's okay to just enjoy work. Yeah, I think so. I think I have to be I'm quite a structured person, so I try and like plan out. I will literally plan out like every half an hour of my day. Like that's just, otherwise I won't go for a run, or I won't go to the gym, or I won't do other things. So do you do that while you work in your working hours? No. So when I'm at the coffee shop, that's just coffee shop. But outside of that, I'm really quite
like I know what I'm doing then for my evening.
It's fascinating that I'm talking to so many people that do that.
Oh really? Oh,
I thought it was rare, but so many people that have been on the podcast, and it might just be a link that they're all business owners, right? But like some people go to 15 minutes, some people's like half an hour's, like really structure out the day. And it's interesting that it must be a connection that business owners feel that they have to structure out the rest of their day.
I think otherwise you just get pulled into like can just spend time on something that's just not helpful or not relevant, or I'll go home and open my laptop and sit and do like argue with AI over a bag design. Whereas, and then I'm annoyed because I haven't gone for a run, but because I get up early, I don't do any. I used to exercise in the morning, I don't anymore, and that I have to exercise for like my own sanity, and that's like the way I like relax and stop thinking about work. So I'm very structured in that way. But yeah, maybe it is a link. Otherwise your time just goes. So that's what I find if I'm not working in the shop, my day can just get like, I don't even know where it goes. I go to like the wholesalers, I go and do random other jobs, and then I'm like, where's the day gone? And I feel like I haven't achieved anything, but I have.
Yeah. It's, I feel like there's a thing where when you're so used to working and like running your business, think about it. When you're not, I don't know about you, but I feel like a bit of a guilt that I'm not doing it. I think since I opened, there was one this year. I had my friend's wedding in Mallorca, and it was the only time I've not taken my laptop on holiday. And I was like, there's nothing I can't do for number 7 from my phone. And if I take my laptop, I will sit on my laptop. Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just not going to take it on holiday.
It's so hard though, isn't it?
It's so hard. And I did work from my phone, but I did half an hour a day in the morning. And I felt great. I felt so refreshed when I got back, because otherwise I'm just like worrying about it. If my laptop's there, I'll open it and I'll start doing something. And actually, I feel like I do give a lot of my time when I'm working, when I'm like in work mode, to work, that I just need to have that break from it.
It's also a good feeling though when you go away and you've refreshed and you're ready to go again. You're looking forward to getting back to doing it, because I've had jobs where I go away for a week and I think I really don't want to go back to work. I'm dreading how many emails I've got. I'm dreading having to deal with these people. I'm dreading doing that. So it's nice to be able to go away for a week, 2 weeks, whatever. I wish it was 2 weeks. I'm going away for a week without my laptop, and I know I'll be excited to come back. But you can't go away for too long, because if you go away for more than a couple of weeks, you'll want to start a whole new career and a whole new job.
Can't do 7 weeks again. I'll be opening something else.
Yeah. Here's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. This is the first time I'm not taking my laptop with me when I go away this tomorrow. And I know I'm going to be, for the first couple of days, I'm going to be like uncomfortable that I'm not working. I feel like I should be doing something, but it's really important that
you've got to have that reset, I think. Definitely.
Yeah. How do you get any time off? Because if you're the one opening most of the time, how do you manage your like holiday time?
Sundays, I always make sure I'm pretty much, unless I have an event, which is rare at the moment, then I have Sundays definitely off.
That's not a lot though. Once a week.
But then I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I do manage my time. Like Fridays, I try not to open the shops. Then Friday afternoons, I try and like take it a lot easier. Go away. I feel like all I do is go to people's weddings though at the moment. I'm in that era of my life where holidays are just weddings, which are great. They are amazing.
It's weddings and babies, isn't it?
Yeah, weddings and babies. So yeah, but no, it's a nice balance. I mean, my boyfriend plays rugby, so if I wasn't there doing the coffee, I would be at the rugby anyway.
Yeah.
So it's actually it can be quite a nice weekend where that's what I would be doing. I do love the rugby. I try and go to watch Northampton Saints or Bedford whenever I can.
So Bedford Blues, what's the connection there? Because you've got their shirts and stuff in. Yeah,
so we sell the merch in the shop. So this came out of like a bit of a brainstorm when I got back, where it was actually my dad. He was saying that the location, he was really worried about the location. And he said, you need more points of difference. You need something else. You look at other places and they have, like examples, like Say Donuts. They have donuts where people go and like that's their big thing. Like you are just coffee. And my dad just couldn't see that people would travel for coffee. So he has a great relationship with Bedford Rugby Club. And he came up with the idea that we would be a mini little club shop for them and sell their merchandise. And we have some of their branding outside. And yeah, I do think it's worked. It's nice to have that partnership. It's nice that people come in. We do have a lot of people that support the rugby come and support number 7. So it's been a really nice link, and obviously it's got me to doing the coffee at the rugby club as well. So yeah, I would say that was my dad's, who's rugby mad, influence. I think it's his dream to have a rugby club shop, and now we kind of have one in the family. So yeah, it's definitely a nice touch, and it's more to support the club than it being anything to support my business.
Yeah, it makes sense though. It's I think it's nice to work with like local businesses as well, isn't it? Like,
yeah, definitely.
I think ever since we've done more in Bedford, there's so much in Bedford that I just didn't even. Do you know what? So this is a bit of a full circle, a little bit really. I was thinking of the podcast before we started the podcast. I was sat in number 7 when I came up with the idea, because I was sat there having a coffee and just working, and loads of people coming in, and you were just chatting to them about, I don't know what was going on. But you're talking about, have you spoke to this person about this? And like there was quite a few, I think, local business owners were coming in, and you were chatting to people, and I thought, I'm missing out on so much in Bedford. So I thought, we had the business for like 3.5-4 years before we started the podcast. And I thought, I've been doing this for long. I'm in Bedford. I'm born in Bedford, but I don't know any other businesses in Bedford at all. So I thought, how could I get to know people without literally going door to door and introduce myself, which is just weird. So I just thought, I'll start a podcast, and I was sat there in number 7 when I was like mapping out the plan of it.
Oh, that's so nice. It's definitely become a real like community hub where people do connect. I think especially at, like, well, maybe I notice it more at 7 a.m. because I don't know, it's just I do like love it. It's my favorite hour of the day. But you see people that are coming on their own, and now they all sit together and they've made this real community, and they all support each other from a business perspective or a personal perspective. Like it's just become this real like, it feels like a little hub where people get to know each other. And there's like the more structured side where I have a networking group that meet there sometimes on a Saturday, but there's just like little connections and people that have met, and now they're like working together on this, or it's something I'd never foresaw when I did the plans of how much the community aspect would grow, and how much people would support you. But yeah, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's nice to sort of feel that community, and the relaxed sort of nature of it is kind of, I quite like that it's not in a nice way possible. It's not polished. Do you know what I mean? It's not. Sometimes you go into cafes or coffee shops or restaurants, and it's just like, it's like sterile and pristine, and like all the chairs the same. I don't like it.
Yeah,
you don't feel like you're sat with a nice cozy coffee. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that was the well, other than it kind of forced into that plan because I couldn't afford to buy furniture. It has that rustic feel, but even when I've replaced the furniture recently, nothing matches still. It's all a bit rustic. I got tables at knockoff prices because they had a big scrape down the middle. Like if you run a coffee shop and you've got like kids and dogs allowed in, there are things that are going to happen to furniture. So I was like, I don't want pristine matching furniture. That's definitely not the vibe. Like, we want it to feel like you can knock a drink over and it's okay. Like it's not, I want it to just feel like it's your living room, and that is hopefully how people treat it. Had a guy in earlier, he just put his feet straight up on the coffee table, have dogs jumping on the sofas. Like well, the new sofas I'm slightly more OCD about, but the old sofas I didn't really mind. I just want it to feel like a nice, like relaxed environment, and I have a way of serving coffee, but if you want it slightly differently, like just tell me, and that's exactly what I'll do.
Yeah. How did you find the relationships with? Because you obviously you mentioned before that you buy the food externally. Do you buy the cakes externally as well?
Yeah, we do. So I wish I was a baker. Everyone always says, "Oh, did you make this?" Like,
you should have started saying yeah.
Yeah, I did.
I was up at 5:30.
Yeah. Been baking all day. We have a girl called Lily, so Patisserie Cherie. She is our baker and has been since very, very early on. Some family, a grandma, I think it was her ex-boyfriend's grandma, was in the coffee shop, and she was like, "You have to try this girl's bakes." I just contacted her, and we've literally never looked back. Good. She is absolutely flying herself as well. She does markets. People will probably know the name of her brand. She's everywhere. So, and she's amazing to work with, always trying new stuff. So yeah, I take no credit for any cakes, but they are amazing.
Was that just so it just introduced someone that came in and just happened? Was it sort of pretty organic in that way?
It was organic with Lily, but when I opened, I mean, customers weren't finding us, but cake suppliers were finding us, and so we had this constant supply of people dropping off tasters, which was tough for a few weeks, just trying all these cakes and cookies.
Sounds awful.
Yeah, it was a really tough job, and actually Lily, I think, was the only one that I contacted directly. And that's the one we went with. So yeah, but it was a really, really hard job, that.
Yeah, it sounds... maybe I should start a cafe just for that bit.
Yeah, just to get the cakes dropped off.
Yeah, it is really good. I think that... And just they're always just there, aren't they, in the glass?
Just looking at you,
staring at you.
And she's local as well, so I do try and use local where I can. Obviously, our coffee isn't roasted locally. It's in Hammersmith. But where I can, I do use local providers as much as possible.
Yeah, it's a good space, and I think that like I say, it sparked a big thing in me, because I think the independents in Bedford there's some really, really good independent places in Bedford, and I think that there's more of a community in Bedford than I ever realised, and I think it was the place that I kind of just thought, I'm really missing out here, and then that's why we wanted to get you on, because that was. We kind of go there in the mornings, but I can't now because I've got to go. I'm going to get up early just so I can come through.
If you got off at 5:30, you could assume.
Exactly. I'll be there before you. It's kind of been a part of our True Path story that you didn't even know about.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I really like that. Yeah. No, there is a lot of connection that can happen, and random situations all the time.
Yeah. So I want to know when the next one's going to be, because I feel like it's more than 50%. I feel like you're cooking something.
There's something cooking recently that I'm just exploring in my head and bouncing around what could be in the art of the possible. But I feel like I'm in a position, and I was talking to my coffee roaster the other day about it, where I either need to go full steam ahead and get some proper investment and open 10, or I need to you're not going to become a millionaire having a coffee shop. But that was never that was obviously never the plan. I was unhappy in my job. I now do something where I'm really happy. And I do these other little side projects. The coffee hut has cost us a lot of money. I do think I can make that a profitable business over the years, as a little side to number 7, and it can push people to us. If I do something else, it has got to be the right thing, and if I do what I want to do, it will be slightly different. And have a different angle, and it would support number 7 again. So, yeah, TBC, but nothing this year.
Well, we'll have you on so you can tell us all about it when it happens. You have to come back again. It's. I think I want to open a coffee shop now. I speak to so many people about coffee and the community and how great it is. I want to open one.
It's just, I can't really explain. If you could bottle up that feeling of the morning bars of people getting together and random people speaking. One lady this morning, she comes in on her own every morning, and she was saying she had a really difficult housing situation and she now needs to move house. And a customer overheard her and then gave up his weekend to go and help her move house.
Wow.
And that was just a connection through the coffee shop, which is just really natural and nice. They didn't know each other before, and the little things like that just make me so happy and proud of the community.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you ever sort of sit and reflect on how many people you've brought together and what community you've built there?
Yeah, I love people. They come in and I say, oh, do you know that person? And they say, no, I just met them through number 7, and now they're hugging and catching up in the morning, and just think that is. Yeah, just really nice. It's just a nice feeling that people can connect and use the coffee shop in that way.
I think it's so. A lot of the conversations that we have are kind of not centre around, but COVID's often mentioned when we have these conversations, because it's a lot of time for people to think and reflect, and a lot happened. And I think society changed a lot in terms of working remotely and being alone and reflecting. And I think that a lot of people are craving community and closeness, and that one-to-one or group kind of interaction that they don't get. Some people work from home and spend all their time on Teams and working, and I think society is I think craving it now more than ever to just be around people, because people don't spend much time around people anymore.
Yeah, we get a lot of people coming in and working, and like Monday morning it can feel a bit like a library sometimes, because you've got everyone that's come in from the morning bustle, and then you just get people on their laptops working away, but then they stop and break, and then you have a chat with them, and it's just nice to have that social interaction. But I think so. I used to work from home a lot, but I did struggle with not then wandering off and doing the washing or like cleaning out a cupboard that I hadn't done for ages, just because, you miss, you just miss the structure of the day when you're at home all the time.
Yeah, you end up sticking a wash on or having a lunch break and watching a bit of TV that turns into an hour of TV. And then, it's difficult. And we're social beings. People like to be around people. A lot of people like to be around people. And it's also like if you go to go and have a coffee, it's a joint interest already there, isn't it? You've already gone out of your way to have a coffee. So you already started the conversation, the fact that you're there, kind of open to have the conversation anyway. I can't imagine not many people that come in and don't want to talk to anybody. Yeah,
most people you get a few that just put their headphones in and just want to crack on with something. But on the whole, you get people connecting or overhearing a conversation. They say, oh, I work in that industry. Who do you work for? And then randomly connections are made, particularly like with the rugby connection. Like people seem to know each other, and they say, what are you like? What are you doing here? People are always like, what are you doing in my coffee shop? And it is quite funny.
Yeah, it ends up being a very small world, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. You just don't know how everyone has all these connections through either children at school or different working situations, but it's nice.
It's really interesting because we talk to obviously people on the podcast, and you come across as probably the most least stressed person out of all of them.
I think my boyfriend would maybe say that is a good mask.
Oh, really?
Maybe. I do.
You kind of just say like it's something that you enjoy doing, and you've got like a good net. Maybe you're just a really good liar.
Yeah, I do think in a stressful situation, I don't handle it very well, but I've been given a lot of feedback that I've asked for feedback on how I can do that better. So I'm like consciously trying to be less stressed. Like Saturday for me was stressful. Like I don't normally work Saturday mornings in the shop, but I am now. And I had to open the rugby club at the same time I was closing the shop. So I had like 5 minutes to get down to the rugby club and help get all of that set up and deliver all the stuff that needed to be down there. Like that would have used to absolutely thrown me, because I like to break my day up quite clearly, and there was no half an hour like to block in there to do that. But yeah, it was using my network, relying on people around me who can help me out here. I needed someone to go down to the rugby club and turn on the coffee machine, because it takes half an hour to warm up.
Right.
So I know that if someone's gone and flick that on, then I can start serving like as soon as I get there. And that was like something that was on my mind, because it might just be one customer that comes down when the gates open, but I don't want to not serve that one customer.
Yeah.
Just because it's a negative experience that they weren't open. Like that, I hate that. I want to always be open and available from when I say that we are available. So yeah,
So it's a conscious sort of learning thing. It's not because I think it comes across like it's just that's how you are, but it's a learning of not being so stressed.
Definitely a learning, and I exercise nearly every day, and if I don't, then that's when I think I process things when I'm on a run, or when I'm in the gym I try not to be on my phone. That's when I like just process things, or I play netball in a team, which I do think's really helped me just like have a release in something totally different and meeting new people. But if I don't exercise, like my friends or boyfriend will be like, have you been on a run recently? Do you need to go? And just put a podcast in and go for a run.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I get into bed, and I can struggle with sleeping, because that's when my brain will start being like, oh, I didn't do that, I haven't thought of that. And I'll just lie there and I'll start emailing myself all these things to do the next day.
Yeah.
And I find that so unhealthy. Like I then cannot get to sleep. So if I've gone out and done a run and processed things, and sometimes I'll come back from a run and I'll just write everything down that I've thought about. And that's like my like subconscious way of like, I don't know, handling things. So I probably feel like I can't be stressed as well, like in my job, being a customer.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Like facing person. Like there are things that have happened like in my personal life that are going on in the background. But to my customer, it's like, morning, how are you? How was your day? Can I get you a flat white? I try and never let that come across because my problems aren't their problem.
So I've got a deeper question than that then. Do you find it difficult to then process the personal stuff because you spend so long throughout the day with the everything's good face?
Yeah, I that's probably something that I've had to reflect on recently, where I am exhausted by the end of the day because I've talked to people all day. I can be on my feet like the whole 8 hours. I get home and I'm absolutely exhausted, but I want to exercise or I want to walk the dogs because I need to have that download time. But there are times I just fall asleep on the sofa at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like it's that I never find is good for me. But yeah, I probably don't process things that well if I was really honest. And because I say you have to. You do have to, because no one wants to come into a coffee shop where the barista's like crying behind the till, because that's a bit awkward. But obviously everyone I'm sure would understand, and everyone has stuff going on. But in hospitality, you do have to put a bit of a face on and find a way to process things and handle it differently. And also I would say I am very lucky that customers on the whole are very polite. But there are customers that have been rude or said something offensive or derogatory. And I'd had that when I was in HR, and there'd always been a process on how to deal with something or a company protocol. But in hospitality, that was something I wasn't really... I had to learn on my feet how to handle those things, because the customer isn't always right, but you always have to be polite to the customer, like 99% of the time. So I had to learn how to... manage situations that I was having, and then I was very protective of my team, and we ended up being a team of just women at the start, and I was very protective over some customers towards how they interacted with the girls that worked for me. So yeah, but it was learning the boundaries of what I could say, what I felt I could say, and what that looked like, because I wasn't representing like a big corporation anymore. I was representing my brand, and I do worry about that. So I had a customer last week came in, said, do you have Wi-Fi? Went and sat down. And then I thought 10 minutes later, they haven't ordered anything. And for me, that's really rude in a small coffee shop. So I had to go over and say, like, do you mind? And they said, I'll only be another 5 minutes. I don't want anything. Thank you. And what I wanted to say was that wasn't okay, but it was just like, okay, that's fine. And I just let them leave. But I find that a really hard situation, because what I want to say is, do you know, we're a small business and we're trying to make a living, and you're taking up a table. But actually, I just wanted the situation her to still have a positive experience of number 7.
Yeah.
So I just let it play out. But obviously, if she comes back, I will say something.
Yeah, it is. I really struggle with that as well, because you want to be you want to be yourself and true to yourself and true to what you think. But you also have to represent a brand. And you were saying about Facebook and what you can and can't, what you feel like, how strong you want to be with your opinions, and you feel like it's not just you that you're representing, and that is tough. And I also think that when you're a business owner and when you're the face, you have to be on all the time. You have to be energetic. You have to be you can't, whether you're sort of the face of the business in terms of you're literally the face of the business as you are, or you've got to motivate your team, which you're doing as well. Like I said, you can't come in and be low and be flat and, we've got to have a really good day. You've got to put it on all the time. And then it is difficult to turn that off when it's on. Do you know what I mean? When you've got to be on for people, like I say, all the time. You've got to be bubbly, you've got to be welcoming, you've got to be smiley. And then it's like you're mentally drained, and then you've got to go home and live your life and deal with anything else that's going on as well. And it's hard to then turn that side off. I think it's kind of alluding to what I was saying earlier. There's so many layers to running a business that aren't just turning up and starting a coffee shop. Yeah,
no, definitely. And I think it's like, my mum made a comment the other week, and she said, she made a comment about her being tired, and she said, I don't want to say that because I sound like Hannah. And I was like, oh God. I was like, do I say that all the time? She's like, yeah, you're always tired. Like, we actually thought, like, do you need some, like, she goes into like medical mum. So like, do you need some kind of iron tablets or whatever? I was like, I am, it's tiring getting up at 5:30. Like, I go to bed as early as I can, but obviously there is life to live, like, before that. So yeah, it's tough, but that kind of feedback just resonates with me, and now I am really conscious of even if I am tired, trying not to say it, or I'm like, how much is that coming across? Maybe it's not coming across to customers, but is that coming across to my family? And then I'm not actually that great to be around.
It is difficult because I feel like I'm always talking about work, or I'm always saying how stressed I am, and I kind of do get the eye roll kind of vibe where I kind of think I don't want to be that boring person that no one really wants to be around because all we talk about is work all the time. But I also think that that's me. That's just who I am. So it is difficult. But yeah, you don't want to be seen as the grumpy, tired one all the time, because that is, it is difficult. But I'm not getting up at 5:30, so I can't comment.
My mum's like, I will just stop doing everything. Like I can get back from netball like really late in the evening, and then I'm up at 5:30. She's like, don't play netball. It's like, no, that's obviously not the answer. Like I'll catch up on, I don't know, I'll catch up on sleep at some point. But yeah, it is tough. But I think it's just probably processing it in a way that suits individuals. But yeah, I have to be careful of how tired I am. Just need to drink more coffee, don't I? Then I won't be so tired.
I wonder where we can get a good coffee from. It's all a balance, and a lot of it is a balance. But at the end of the day, you'd rather be tired in a job that you enjoy and something you've got passion for and that's rare. It's hard to find. There's not a lot of people that love what they do. Yeah,
I do. I try not to say it around my friends, because I am one of a few, I think, that really do love my job. I don't get like the Sunday scaries. I absolutely love waking up and going to work, and they're my favourite days when I'm opening the shop. So I'm very blessed. So I kind of take the tiredness on the chin, really. I chose to open at 7.
Yeah. And I think what I've taken away from this is sometimes you need to take some time to reflect. You've changed your whole life just from 7 weeks of reflect. And 7 weeks isn't a long time. It's not like you went away travelling for a year and you came back and you wanted to change your life. 7 weeks is like a school holidays type thing, isn't it? It's not a long time for you to really reflect and realise that it ain't for you. And that's maybe a lot of more people need to do. Because also, I think, and you sort of saying that it was about driving like the career ladder and success and money and all this sort of stuff. But the balance, I think that's such a trap that people get caught into, that like I say, that rat race of just more. But what's that feeding?
I think I moved jobs 5 times in like 6 years, just getting promoted, getting a lot more, like doubling my salary every time. Like I was in a very comfortable place when I left my job in London, but I was so unhappy. So yeah. I actually saw on LinkedIn today, someone I used to work with, she just got promoted to a partner at the firm. And I just thought, and it made me go, oh, I wonder where I could be. I wonder what I could be doing now. I'd be like, oh, I'd still be unhappy. Yeah. And I'm not saying that that's everyone. Like some people absolutely love it and thrive on it, but it didn't suit me. And I think I did fall into that trap of just get a job and get promoted and earn more money and you'll be happy. And the more you earn, the more you work, the happier you'll be. But it didn't suit me.
There's always when I earn this, or when I achieve this, or when I get to this level. But you're always just pushing for the next thing. And not a lot of people find happiness in that chase. And it gets really difficult. But
I think because it wasn't a passion. Like HR, I find it interesting. I feel like I can do a good recruitment process now for the coffee shop. But it didn't get me excited. Now I find social media far more interesting than I ever did HR. And had I gone and studied that, would that have been more of a passion of mine? I just think I really did pigeonhole myself into this HR career. It was probably something I wish I hadn't really done, but it just happens all the time.
But you got to where you wanted to be, so you kind of, everything happens for a reason, doesn't it? You did that journey, and if you didn't do that, maybe you wouldn't have ended up here, and you could have been a politician.
That is true. Yeah. People do ask me that, like, oh, did you have career political aspirations? But no, never. Definitely not.
Yeah. I don't
Especially
blame
not
you.
now.
Yeah, I don't blame you. So we've touched on it a little bit before, but if you were just to start a business again, which it sounds like you will be soon, what advice would you give, and what sort of little tips would you say that you've learned and you'd kind of pass on?
I think finding that network earlier on. I think now I do have the network, but early on I was so narrow-minded and just made some horrible decisions. I think ask people. Like no question is no. I know it's like a classic phrase, but no question is stupid. There are people that have done it. Find people in your industry, in the industry you are in or want to go into, and utilize them, because there are people, like even in Bedford, that I wish I'd reached out to, and just talked. Like even like Mitch, he was, I think, a year and a bit ahead of me. Like had I reached out to him, then I probably would have learned so much from his mistakes. So I think it's about utilizing the businesses that are already there, and like just, I don't know, make your network and ask stupid questions all the time.
He said the same. He said he just had to ask lots of questions because he kind of went off no experience as well. So
Yeah.
it's interesting how many people just changed career or started a business, something they've never even experienced before.
Like a little passion project that turns into your whole
passion
life.
project that just got a little bit too excited and turned into a business or a career. But
Now I'm just a coffee obsessed.
there's worse things to be obsessed about. I think it's just a case of finding that passion. I think everyone's got a passion. They just need the space to find it. And passions change. My passion was, I used to be obsessed with sales and podcasts and reading about it and the psychology of a sales. And now I still like it. But like you said, you found social media. I found like digital marketing, and it excited me more. And it was like 4 years into running a business. And I think you just got to give it space sometimes and allow life to just present to you what might be your thing.
Yeah, and definitely like take risks where you've got the support around you. Like just have a go at things. Like side hustles are becoming absolutely massive, and you're seeing that. And some people really do take off doing a little side project. So it might just be that's the passion that you need, or the push to get out of the job that you aren't enjoying, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's tough.
Yeah. The only downside to these podcasts is they give me lots of ideas, and
no, what's next? No coffee shops. There's enough.
I don't know. Yeah, I know. It's great, but I end up just then not sleeping because I've got loads of different ideas. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, what's next?
Yeah, I know. I don't know what's next for me. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, let alone what's next. But well, there's a lot in there. There's a lot of. It's interesting when you talk to people's backgrounds, and like I wouldn't have put you as like politician.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and I never really talk about it, like why I went down the politics and the HR route. But yeah.
Now we all know.
Now the corporate world, that doesn't suit me. Sometimes I'll be at like a beer fly meeting or something, and I find myself being really corporate, and I'm like, oh, what am I doing? Doesn't suit me anymore.
It's funny that everyone that had a corporate job kind of talks of it in a way of, or when in my corporate life, as if it was like a place they just didn't want to be.
They just didn't want to be there. I say like a phrase and I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I never liked it then. Why am I trying to bring it back?
Yeah, there's so many little, they just, some of them just like make my skin crawl.
Yeah.
Like the cheesy Americanism, like corporate terminology that,
doesn't mean anything,
it
does
doesn't.
it? No.
Oh, just stick a pin in it.
Yeah,
What?
just take all of that out, and then the business it'll be fine without all that fluff.
Yeah.
And that's what I think, HR can get quite fluffy, and I think I'm not very fluffy, so it's probably why it didn't suit me that much.
I don't think I've had a positive experience with anyone in HR.
And that's something that I found difficult, because no one really likes HR, but
And you're meant to be, they're meant to trust HR, aren't you?
and you're meant to be able to come to HR and you know all the gossip really that's going on in the business, and you kind of support the business and the employee, and it can be really fun, but you don't have the respect of the business, unfortunately, in many companies, well, especially the ones that I worked in. So you're always kind of on an uphill battle. So hats off to people that do work in HR, because it is tough.
Yeah, I always felt like they were in more siding with the business by a long way than ever. And that might be my bad experience.
No, but I think it can often come across like that, and because that's how it always ends up in the decisions. But not fun.
No.
But hats off to people that still do it.
Yeah, fair play. Well, we've been an hour and 50, so we better wrap it up. So thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I am looking forward to this secret plan that you've got that you're not telling us about. And I'll make sure I get up early so I can get in the morning and beat the school traffic.
Brilliant, thank you.
See you. See you for
7 a.m.
Yeah, see us. Maybe not 7, but and then we'll see you again for the next one when you can actually tell us about what you're doing. Yeah,
maybe next year.
No pressure. Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.